We start with the shutdown of the inter-Korean Kaesong Industrial Complex, which is Seoul's strongest response yet to the continued provocations from North Korea. South Korean workers entered the park this morning to bring the process of withdrawing from the complex. For the latest developments, we connect live to our Unification Ministry correspondent Connie Kim at the Inter-Korean Transit Office in Paju. Connie, with all that's going on with the shutdown, has there been any response from North Korea?
Well, Mark, it seems like North Korea has told its workers not to report for duty as no one appeared at the complex today. Now, reportedly, buses arrived at the complex as usual, but the buses inside were empty. Now, North Korea did, however, agree to South Korea's proposed schedule of letting South Koreans in and out of the complex. Now, with the green light, South Korean businessmen started crossing the inter-Korean border into the north starting 9 a.m. and they're expected to come out no later than 5:30 p.m. A total of 132 South Koreans are expected to enter the complex today, and 68 will return at the end of the day. Now, I was able to speak to some of the South Korean businessmen with factories in the complex, and they were definitely not happy about the short notice since they got about the shutdown.
South Koreans with factories at the complex are trying their best, but what we got is a sudden notice to pull out. What did we do wrong? The country would be better off if the companies were allowed to prosper.
We have about a 2-month supply of products stored up. If the government had given us some kind of notice beforehand, we could have balanced out production. I personally don't think it will be easy for the industrial park to reopen after this.
Currently, there are 53 companies whose workers don't reside at the complex, and the ministry says it'll allow them to start withdrawing first. Seoul is hoping to have all South Korean workers out of the complex within a week's time.
Well, Connie, as the factory owners touched upon there are growing concerns within South Korea that the complex will not reopen anytime soon, even with an easing of tensions between the two Koreas down the line. Why is that?
Well, Mark, South Korea's Unification Ministry plans to cut off all electricity and water supply at the complex. Now, this is a firm stance taken by the South Korean government compared to 2013, when North Korea withdrew all of its workers from the complex. Now, the reason for this is because Seoul believes that the operations at the complex have contributed to Pyongyang's weapons of mass destruction development. Now, since 2013, when the complex was first established, South Korean government and firms have invested some $854 million into the complex. Now, in total, that's $516 million of cash funneled into the north. South Korean companies, on its side, is expected to suffer. During its 5-month shutdown back in 2013, they have reported more than $920 million of losses. North Korea has some 54,000 employees. A scale to population, it's reported to be equivalent to losses of more than 700,000 American jobs. Now, finding ways to support these South Korean businessmen is an assignment to be solved, as related ministries will be holding a vice ministers meeting to discuss details of financial support. I'm Connie Kim, reporting live from the Inter-Korean Transit Office in Paju. Mark.